Hello everybody, this is Jasmina, and in this video I'm going to talk about the formation or the practice of chasing the wealth star. Now, it is a method that can help you get out of a difficult financial situation, but it isn't easy to do. Now, it is often considered a secret, largely because it is really easy to understand, but it is also can be quite dangerous to implement if you pick the wrong time to start. Now, I would not suggest you do this unless you meet basically these three criteria. First off, you realize you are heading towards a difficult situation, and you have 3 months leeway before it becomes absolutely critical. Now, oftentimes people kind of deny that they're in trouble until it's really way too late. You have to have 3 months prior to when it goes critical, when you would have to start taking action. That is, you would have to start chasing the wealth star. So this can be hard to do. A lot of people just aren't ready for this. Now, you also must be able to be willing to do whatever it takes to get the problem solved. Now, you want to do it legally, otherwise it won't work. I mean, you'll get in trouble anyway. Now, almost always it won't be until the 3rd month before the solution comes. And so that means you have to have that 3-month leeway. And there's no guarantee that it will come in 3 months. This isn't the guaranteed thing. This is a boost of your energy that can help you if you work really hard to solve this. And it's likely that you're not going to reach what your full goal is. I mean, let's say you're in a foreclosure situation or a potential foreclosure situation, and you may have to sell your house at or whatever it is, could be a business, at a loss, but at the same time you have enough to pay off the bank. You might have to start from zero again, but you would start from zero anyway after the foreclosure, and you would have that on your record. And it'd be very hard to borrow money for quite a few years. This way, you're still not going to be in a great situation, but at least you don't have the bankruptcy or the foreclosure on your record. And that makes a big difference in terms of your ability to borrow money in the future and what interest rate you would pay. Now, chasing the wealth star is actually very simple. You are going to use the current period star. Right now we're in period 9, and you're going to find where it is as a month star in the month charts for at least 3 consecutive Chinese solar months. It sounds super simple, but it's what you do there that's important. So in period 9, you would be working on your financial problems in the sector of your residence with the month star 9. Now, if one of those sectors is missing, you can't use it. And so you have to work with your house also, or your apartment, or wherever you are. You have to work with that, and you have to have the ability to use that room. So this is, a bit complicated, and you do have to have that some piece of your house that's available in the star 9 subsector, or sector, I should say. It's a sector, 45 degrees, for all 3 months. Now, this month, and this is the rooster month in 2024, it is a particularly difficult time to start because this month's star 9 is with the annual star 5. Now 9 is a fire star. Fire produces earth. 5 is an earth star. And so you strengthen the 5. And the 5 is the 5 yellow, the one that gives you all kinds of problems. And you would be in the west. You'd have to be there because that's where month star 9 is. And even if you work quietly, you probably are going to activate the 5 because the 5 is already hyped up because of the month star 9. So it would be very difficult. You would have a lot of problems. But if this is an emergency, this is what you would have to do. Now, what you need to do in that sector is work on trying to solve your problem. So you may have to talk to a lot of different people who have been in similar situations. How did they get out of it? Maybe you ask for help from a little bit of financial help from a bunch of different people, because most people don't have a lot of money laying around. So you could do that kind of thing. It depends on how big your need is, whether or not getting help from friends could be enough. But you really need to focus intensely on solving your problems. So this means you're not going to be playing video games. Your free time will be spent in that sector trying to figure out how to solve your problem. And if you're out of work, that's your day job. And basically, you got to really concentrate on this, and you've got no free time. All your spare time should be working on solving your problem. Now, you don't need to sleep there unless you have very little free time to work on the problems because perhaps you're doing pretty much all that you can. Maybe you have 2 to 3 jobs, something like this, and you also have things at home that you are responsible for. Then I could see you don't have much time. Then sleep there. It's not very, very strong, but if you really can't spend much time working on the problem in that area, then definitely sleeping there is a good idea. And if you feel overwhelmed by not having time to have, or not choosing not to play video games or watch silly programs on TV, then you can meditate. That can help you calm down and re-energize you. That's what meditation should do. So that's okay. You can do that too in there. And sometimes that meditation will inspire you. Something will come to you after you've meditated because you're looking at the whole thing in a different frame of mind. So this is a very good thing to do. At least some of the time you should do some meditation. Now, in desperate situations, unfortunately, there's no guarantee that this will work. But it's better than not doing anything, obviously, because if it works, your problem is solved. If it doesn't work, well, you've lost some video game time and some TV time, but that's about it. Maybe a little bit of time with the family, which is actually more important, but it's only for 3 months. So, and it's much better to do something than just let the situation do what it will. There are ways to improve your chances of having success. You have to work very hard. Be very serious about solving the problem. Be willing to do things that you never thought you would have to do. Be willing to sacrifice things that you didn't think you'd ever have to sacrifice. That is pleasures and things like this. Because this isn't forever. This is just for a certain period of time. Not just these 3 months, but until you're back on your feet financially. And remember, the Wealth Star is really only about money. It doesn't work for relationships or health. However, having serious money problems usually affects both your health and your relationships. But the real problem is the wealth. Now, this is another thing. You may need to change your approach to life or understand new things because your current approach has led you to the desperate situation. Now, oftentimes this will come from outside. For example, the subprime mortgage meltdown here in the US came from a lot of people not really, I think, not really understanding what a variable rate mortgage does. They tried to push us into that when we bought our house. And we read the whole thing. And we actually read it, not just pretended to read it. And it said we couldn't pay back early without a penalty. And it said that after 2 years, it would go from like 300 some dollars up to $2,000 and a month for our mortgage. And so we pointed this out and we asked what this was all about to the loan officer. And they said, oh, you just refinance. Well, it wouldn't have been such a bad thing for us because we were in a situation where we had a very high mortgage rate. It was 7.75, the fixed one, and 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 it might have been okay, but we wanted to pay back early because we had extra savings and we wanted to pay it back early. And so we simply said no. I said, why would we want to refinance? It's already a pain to come here and do this once. We're not going to do it again in 2 years. So so we said we want a fixed rate. We want to know what we pay, and we want to know we can pay off early without being penalized. And so we just handed the paper back, and then they came back, and it was like about $550 from 300 and maybe 30. So yes, we would pay more. But what people did is they bought houses bigger than they could afford on a fixed rate mortgage. And so, but they bought also when the interest rate was low, and when the interest rate went up, they got priced out of their own homes. And this was because they were greedy. They could have bought a smaller home and sacrificed a bit, and they wouldn't have lost their home if they chose the fixed rate mortgage. So this is ultimately was the choice of the homeowner who lost their home to do this, even though it was outside things that triggered it. So this is what I mean about changing your approach to life, is that you need to know what you're getting into when you're doing anything financial. And this can be hard because it's all legal jargon. But you have to ask questions when you don't understand. Now, you also have to be willing to subdue your ego and preconceived ideas of what your life should be like, that kind of thing, and to get to that all these things, these preconceived ideas, your ego and what kind of job you should get, and that all will hold you back from doing whatever you need to do to change your situation. This is probably the hardest for certain people, and this is probably the hardest for others. So it just depends on the details of your personality, which one will be harder for you. One thing is that can hold you back is taking the job that you consider beneath you. This is like a classic thing. If you're out of a job and it's causing you financial problems, take whatever job you can find. Start working, start earning. Maybe it doesn't pay great, but then you can you can still keep looking for a job. You're not stuck in that job. Just take it. And that is what holds a lot of people back. Now, when I quit my job as a research scientist voluntarily, I had job offers, but I didn't want to work anymore in that field anyway. And I took a job at a fabric store. Now, I had to tell them what my history was, and the job title of my last job was postdoc. I think it was associate or maybe assistant, I don't remember which. And so I can't hide my doctoral degree. But the manager of the store recognized me because I came in fairly regularly. I made the curtains for our house. I'm not going to pay an arm and a leg for store-bought curtains. Um, I can make a better curtain than I can than than I'm willing to spend. So, uh, this is why she let me have the job because she knew I knew about fabrics and she was okay with it. Now that company doesn't exist anymore. It uh, fabrics fabric stores have had a very bad time, so I don't have that job anymore. But it's okay. Uh, it was an interesting job, and I didn't really mind it. It was different, and I enjoyed that. Now, you need to also cut out things that aren't necessary, and you have to really recognize what is necessary. Now, we don't, I mean, we are not earning a lot of money right now because my husband has a half-time job and this business is barely breaking even. And so, we didn't pay any taxes last year or the year before because we earned so little. But we paid off our house a long time ago. That makes life so much easier. We'd paid off our house about 6, 7 years before the meltdown. So we were not affected. But a lot of houses around us were. But anyway, we have learned to really cut back. So we have phones with no data. I don't even have a smartphone because I don't need one. I have a flip phone, and our bill for our phones is $12 a month. Well, between 12 and 13 for each of us. So that's about what we paid for a landline 20 years ago or 10 years ago, maybe. Uh, so, you know, it's, and we can call long distance and it doesn't cost us more. So that's nice, unlike a landline. So we really cut back on a lot of things. We have the slowest speed we can get for the internet because we don't play games on the internet. So we don't need a fast speed. The one thing that we have that we could get rid of, but that would mean we basically watch no TV, would be getting rid of the satellite dish. And of course, that we have to send it back, and that costs money. So, I don't know how much we would actually save. But the the thing is, we cannot get the local channels, the free over-the-air channels. We cannot get where we are because between the transmission tower and our house, there's a mountain. So we would have no channels, and uh, and we have the cheapest package possible. It's called the welcome package, which is even less than the cheap package, the cheapest regular package, and they bumped it up this year or maybe late last year, almost doubled, and we seriously considered cutting it. And if we get into a situation where we need to, we will. We'll simply not watch TV anymore, which is okay with us. And the all the things like Sling and all those things, they don't have local channels. Otherwise, we would have switched a long time ago. But that's the way it is. And so, but we could cut that, and that would save us about $600 a year, which is not nothing. It's significant. Now, all financial experts agree that everyone should have at least 6 months worth of basic living expenses saved at all times so that if somebody loses their job, the family is not so likely to go homeless. And they usually will get a new job within that 6 months, and sometimes, very quickly. But I do realize this is not very realistic if you're only making minimum wage. It's basically impossible because you can't really afford. You don't have enough money for even food. You have to go to the food bank to eat. So I do realize that that is not possible. This is one reason why learning skills is important so you can get paid better. And if you don't continue to learn new skills in your current job, you're going to be losing your job, especially in period 9, because things change so fast, and there'll be somebody else out there who bothered to learn something, and you'll be the one who's gone. Period 9 is going to be hard. You really need to keep learning, and you need to be more careful with your savings. Now, of course, this 6 months means you basically cut all your unnecessary expenses. So if you have a gym membership, you cancel it. If you have um, cable, you can cancel it. Especially if you can get over-the-air channels. Your kids may hate you, but hey, uh, it'll be good for them in the long run. You can cut out data on your cell phone. Especially if you know how to read a map. I've never used GPS ever, uh, and I just use maps. To me, they're totally adequate. Um, so these are things you need to know exactly what is your basic living. That's either rent or mortgage, food, utilities. That's it, and not eating out. I mean, eating out is not a basic expense. Eating out is something you shouldn't do. Start taking lunches with you to work. Don't eat out. That'll save you a ton of money. You will be surprised at what your basic living expenses is once you cut everything else out. It's a lot lower than I think most people believe. Now, for some people, I know this is very difficult because they believe they don't have any unnecessary expenses. But I don't know of anyone who does not have unnecessary expenses and still pays income taxes. Now, we have an unnecessary expense, which is the dish. We don't have to have it. It makes our life a lot better because then we can watch PBS, and that's really the channel we have on the most times, and especially the NewsHour. And I think we can get the NewsHour on the computer now, but I'm not sure. The biggest problem is we can't just watch, at least the last time I checked, we can't watch the local channels even as they play on the internet. It's just not available. So some shows are and some shows aren't. This is the problem. So this is why we've stuck with this thing which we really hate. In the new house, we're not going to be in a mountain shadow. I really wish we had known this when we moved to this house, because I mean, before we bought this house, because I don't think we would have bought this house if I'd known we'd be stuck with cable or satellite dish, because that's an expense that is just, you know, um, not really necessary. Now, there is another way to use the Wealth Star. If you are not in a desperate situation, you can find a set of 3 consecutive months that have good annual stars that will be combining with the month star. So you see where the month star moves to, and they're good stars. This can help you meet a financial goal. Now, you still have to put a lot of effort in, but you're in sync with the energies. And this can help you have breakthroughs in understanding how to do something to meet a financial goal that you have. And this is, I think, a better way to use it so that you don't necessarily have to go through a lot of trouble to be able to reach your goals. But if you're in a desperate situation, you start as soon as you can. Now, we do have a month coming up the rat month. That starts on December 6th of this year, and you have a chance to use 3 consecutive months to do so, to be able to start. Now, the other months, other than this particular, the rooster month, they aren't as bad as what as the star 5. They're useful, but this will be the easiest one, at least the first one coming up. That'll be relatively easy. Now, it's not going to be easy in the sense that you don't have to work hard. It'll be easy in the sense that you don't come up with a lot of problems as you are trying to meet your goals. So you do need to have a real concrete goal. It can't be just, I want to earn more money. It has to be something like, I want a raise, or I want a promotion, and I want it to pay X dollars. You really need to have a real concrete goal. And you need to seriously work on reaching that goal for those 3 months. So this would be the time when maybe you pick up a new skill. You ask your boss, what does he need? Does he need somebody to learn something? And you learn it. Or if you see a thing, you go to the boss and say, I would like to learn this because I think it would solve this problem. That's even better. If you can see the problem and you go to your boss with a suggestion that you spend some time working on that, if you do that, will you get a promotion? You can ask him straight out, or her. And so this is the kind of thing we're talking about. You have to know exactly what you want, not just some vague, I want more money. Now, don't try to do this with the lottery. It won't work. You could be lucky, but you would have been lucky anyway. Because serious work there isn't really much serious work you can do in the lottery. So it's just chances. Now, the more seriously you focus on reaching that financial goal, the more likely you are to reach it. So the same kind of things apply, is that you don't want to spend much free time watching TV or just relaxing. You want to be focused on this, focused on learning something that can earn you more money. That's basically the way to use this the best. And you will find that if you do start on these months and you move in the consecutive places when the solar month changes, you move to the new place, you will be able to reach your goal much more easily than you think. You'll somehow understand it better. There won't be any big roadblocks. It can work. And I've actually had this happen without knowing this was what it was. I had a really hard time trying to figure out how to get my web page to go from the screen that was like default, I guess, to what I wanted. And I worked on it really hard for 2 or 3 weeks, and I just couldn't figure it out. And so I said, okay, time to do something else. And when I came back, I somehow asked the right question. And in less than 10 minutes, I knew how to do it. And so that can happen. And I think it was the timing was right. I had an inkling that I should go check this out again. And I said, I think I should search this way. And I found it, like immediately. This probably was date selection. I didn't know date selection back then, but I think it was when I just happened to get the right day, and that right day was giving me that intuition to search these certain terms rather than the other terms I had been using, and so these things do work. Now, if you wish to find another consecutive set of 3 months with good or at least decent annual stars that combine with the month star 9, you need to understand the patterns of the annual month stars. And I have a video discussing this. Now, this video, you can actually look and you can see where the stars will be starting on December 6th of 2024. You just looking for the month star 9. And the pattern is easy, the video very clear, and I will try to put the link in the, below here, in the description. Now, good combinations include combo 10, HER2, or any other timely star. Now, which stars are timely varies with period. So that is something you need to be cognizant of, that this won't always work. The rules I'm giving you here will change with changing period. In period 9, 9, 1, and 2, everybody agrees is timely. And 4 and 8 are generally good. 8 is the weakest it can be, but it's such a good star. It's still considered good. And most, but not all practitioners say that 6 is also timely, because 6 is generally a good star. Now, you can use any 3 consecutive months. You can start anytime you want, but when there are combinations with untimely annual stars, then there will be challenges, and perhaps very significant challenges, that may make you want to give up or make you give up. So this is why it's a good idea, if it's not an emergency, to choose a good set of 3 months. Now, there are consecutive 3-month periods that have a good annual star appearing where the star 9 moves to every year, but they vary from year to year, and there's a 9-year repeat because there's 9 stars. So this is something that you can do if you put the time into it. You can find out exactly what is the combination from every year, each month, and you can do this yourself if you want to. Now, I have given the rules for the annual month stars, so in that video I just talked about, so you can determine this for yourself. Now, I will be having short videos discussing this. Is this a good month to start, for doing the Chasing the Well Star for the next 3 months? And so I will cover that and say, some are better than others, depending on how urgent your need is it a good time to start? And I will, do that for you guys. But you have to be a member. And in this case, your flying star chart, your purple white chart, and your Chi Men chart are generally ignored. You might be in the death door sector where you have a month star 9. Ignore it. It's okay. What you're using is the combination of the annual and month stars energy. And actually, you're using the month star energy. And that is, for 1 month, stronger than the Chi Men death door. But as soon as that month is up, that Chinese solar month is up, you move to the other place. You don't want to hang around where the death door is really long. So that's it. I'm hoping this is helpful to you guys, and you can do with it what you will. I've not used it, but I've heard about it like 2 times already, and so 2 different sources, but they might have the same base source. But I'm pretty sure this is exactly how you do it. And you could chase the well star for more than 3 months if you wanted to. But if it doesn't come to fruition in 6 months, you need to change your method because you're obviously not doing what you need to do to get to where you want to be. But thank you guys for watching. I really do hope this will help somebody.